Today on the podcast, we've got your late May fishing reports for Lake of the Ozarks, Tablerock Lake, and Truman Lake. Then we're going to be joined by Aaron Click to talk all about chasing smallmouth on the rivers of Missouri, and we'll take a deep dive into the history of Tackle HD. Plus, I'm going to tell you how this bag of finesse worms right here led to me catching my personal best largemouth bass 1 week ago. That story and more coming up. First, it is your Lake of the Ozarks fishing report.
Hey guys, Casey Scanlon here. Going to give you a quick fishing report for Lake of the Ozarks. It's late May and the fish are up spawning. We've had, kind of a late spring, and those fish are really on the bank right now in big numbers. So you can go to pretty much any cove, fish the boat docks, fish the isolated cover in there, and you can catch a lot of fish. So this week we've been using the Tackle HD sticks worm, green pumpkin, blacks in the mornings. Black and blue flake has been really good. Around some of the clear water and spawning fish, some of these brighter colors have been working well. But green pumpkin is a real go-to for me. We're fishing it on a Texas rig. We're also using a shaky head. So the shaky head has been really good, dragging it around gravel banks, just rigging that worm on there. Also using a Hayabusa special wire wacky hook, and the wacky rig's really working around the clear water. So you can go all over the lake right now and find that 70-degree water. There's a lot of fish that have spawned, the last couple weeks. And so those fish are starting to move out off the bank. They're starting to get on those secondary points, main lake points, and that'll get better as the weeks go on. But right now, most of those fish are up shallow. The lake level is, full right now. We're at probably 660. So, it's full. There's a lot of cover in the water. So the best bet is just to get out there, fish shallow, and throw around all the cover that's on the bank right now, and you're going to have a lot of success. So Texas rigs, even a little Carolina rig. I'll show you some of the stuff that I've got rigged up right now. A lot of debris in the water, a lot of floating stuff in the water. So a frog actually worked pretty good today. Variety of topwaters. The Tackle HD buzzbait is my absolute favorite this time of year. Those fish have spawned. They're starting to guard fry. And anytime you have that, you get a lot of fish that are protecting those fry, and they become easily susceptible to a topwater of some sort. And that Tackle HD buzzbait, the worldwide buzzer, is one of my favorites. It's really loud. It comes through the water really well. You can cover a lot of ground, and it gets big bites. So look for that bite to be really, really hot. That topwater bite's just starting to kick off. Like I said, the sticks worm, I've got this one on a Texas rig. We've got a shaky head rigged up as well. And I also have a wacky rig. So 3 different styles for that same worm. Been super productive for me. Also, always down here at Lake of the Ozarks, we've got my Trophy Bass Company Pro Jig. Got all these on 6-gill rods and reels with pretty heavy line, 15 to 20 pound line on all my bait casters, and even heavier on the top waters. I'm using 50 to 65 pound braid on both of those top waters that I mentioned. I've also got a minnow fluke rigged on here. This is one of my favorite chatterbait trailers, but it's also a really good bait on a Carolina rig. You can see I've got just kind of a little baby Carolina rig here. So, 18-inch leader from that weight to the hook. Got another Hayabusa wide gap hook on there. Really sharp, catches a lot of fish. So dragging those on the gravel banks. So go back into these pockets, fish the cover in the creeks and coves. Usually the flatter banks right now have been the best. We've been catching a lot of fish the past 3 days all over the lake. So get in those pockets, fish shallow, start working your way out to those secondary and main lake points, and you're going to catch a lot of fish. Fishing on the bottom slow has been really productive. We've got a lot of rain and stuff today, so the top water was productive this morning. So just kind of vary your retrieves, vary your baits around. It's the time of year where you can pretty much throw anything and catch a ton of fish. So hit the lake the next few weeks. The fishing's going to be red hot. It's my favorite time of year to be out there. Experiment with variety of lures, and you're going to have a lot of success. The fish are up shallow. The fish are biting. So good luck to you, and we'll see you on the next report.
Now we bounce over to Truman Lake for a fishing report courtesy of Fish 30 and Dave McCormick.
Well, welcome back. It's been 2 weeks. We got a new fishing report for Lake Truman. Yep. Truman is up. We've had quite a bit of rain, and I think she's sitting right around 12 or 13 feet tall right now. And I know that means a lot of green bushes and a lot of fun fishing, actually. We caught a lot of fish this weekend in the tournament. Gary and I fished in the Joe Bass, and we literally jumped fish off. That just is how it is. I lost 2 fish. He lost 1. I think we had about 11 pounds, something like that. It didn't go perfect for us, but we had the bites, we had the opportunities, and that's all you can ask for. So really, the hottest thing right now is flipping around those bushes or right out in front of the bushes. You can't go wrong with something like a creature bait. I'm not sure all that matters. I think the size, profile, and kind of the color that you mimic a green-eared sunfish, because that's who they're worried about messing around with their nest the most. So that mimics that. You can always fish the jig. Had a lot of bites on it. The fish are really hot. Jump 2, 3, 4 times before you get them to the net. That's the real problem. So I don't know. I did lose some fish on the jig this weekend. Probably operator error, folks. Here's one I'm betting on. I just love to do it. I want y'all to try it. Put it in your arsenal. This is a new kind of fishing, Florida style. We only get to do it when the water's high, when you have green bushes. I know some of my tournament buddies, don't do it, Dave, don't show it. Yeah, we're showing it. 1 ounce weight, gang. You'd be surprised. Put a 1 ounce weight in front of your favorite bug and drop it on braid straight into that green bush. There'll come a day, a moment in time where you'll be happy that you tried it. Trust me, we call it dropping the bomb for a reason. Give it a try. It hasn't really worked out for me yet, but it's coming. Just need a little more outgoing motion in the lake. The lake starts falling and they tuck into those bushes, and oh my God, then the game's on. So also, topwater is starting to produce some big bites. A buzzbait is doing it. The 4th place team, I know they're a 5-pounder, come off of it. Joe told me. We caught a couple smaller keepers on a buzzbait. Gary has still got that buzzbait on his pole. I threw this and had some really big splashes. I also love the popper. If we're around the dirty water, I even like this dark color when it's cloudy. And there's so much trash in the water. The old popping frog. You got to give that a try too. Remember, you need it to hang around the bed to upset the bass. If you just pull it right by them, the threat's gone. They may not strike, but if the bait sits there near what they're trying to protect in like a pop pause kind of motion, they're likely to bite it. So Truman's around 72, 73 degrees. She's 12, 13 feet high, and we are gonna have a big storm tonight. So I'm not really sure where she's going. She might go up a little bit more. I do understand they're letting some water go, so we got some relief in the ability to push it on down to Lake of the Ozarks and then on out the Osage River. So don't say no, because the fishing is unique right now. You'll not get a chance to fish around the green bushes very much in the state of Missouri. So I love it. I enjoy it. Even when I get my butt kicked like I did this weekend in Joe Bass, I think we only had 11 pounds. Oh, some of my buddies. Heck, my roommate at Truman won it. I heard all about it. I knew what to do. I just couldn't execute. That's the reality of it. That's tournament fishing. Hey, you like that kind of stuff? Come over and check me out. I got 107 tournament videos on YouTube. We'd love to have you subscribe to our channel. We are looking to get to that 10,000 mark, and we are not there yet. So help us out if you can. Come by and check me out on YouTube. I got a lot of content coming. Enjoy Truman Lake. Get out and fish. Take a kid fishing. It's important. Till next time.
Now for a look at Tablerock Lake, here's Matt Fielder.
Hey guys, this is Matt Fielder with MJF Guide Service and Modern Outdoor Tackle, giving you your mission report presented by Tackle HD. The lake level is 923. It is dropping, so some of that water is coming from way up in the woods down to just kind of like the bush line. So that's really good in my opinion. It makes it a little bit easier to catch some fish around those bushes because there's not as much water as there had been. The water temp is 72 to 74. I think it's going to keep climbing a little bit as we have some of these 90-degree days. So the water temp is probably going to be pushing 74 to 76 here before too long. But if the water's still up in the bushes, the fish are still going to be in the bushes until it gets, a little bit warmer. Then they'll start moving out to their summer haunts. So right now, I've been catching a lot of fish, throwing a Senko up near the bush line. Throw it up in front of the bushes. If you can find some holes, pitch it up into those holes. Been getting a lot of bites, more so on the submerged bushes with bushes that are out of the water right next to them. That's where I've been getting the most of my bites as far as flipping bites go. Another thing that I've been throwing around is this floating worm. This is an X-Zone floating worm. You just throw it out, let it sink until you kind of can't see the worm anymore, and then just slowly reel it out. Fish will come out from the bushes, grab a hold of it, and then you get fish on, reel them in. It's a really good way to catch some fish right now. If you'd rather not get deep into those bushes, then you can just take like a split shot rig, and you can either put the Senko on it or this floating worm. Just throw it out in front of that bush line, let it sink down, really lightweight, like a split shot. So throw it out, let it kind of go to the bottom, and then just really, really, really slowly drag it back in, and you can get quite a few bites doing that. The fishing is really tough, so that's a really good way to actually pick up some numbers. The size hasn't quite been there, as you can see by some of the tournament results over the last couple of weeks. This time of the year, you shouldn't see 14 pounds being in the top 5. So if you can go out there, and if you like tournament fishing, and you can go out there and catch 14, 15 pounds, you have a good shot of cashing a check. So these two ways are a good way to get a decent amount of bites and maybe jump up into that check line. Another way to catch them around the bushes is this boom boom rigged swim bait. It's kind of like a mag draft. I just like this one a lot, so I've been throwing it. You can pick holes in the bushes and throw it up in there. Let it sink down just a little bit, and then just give it a slow reel back. And some better fish have been coming on this soft swim bait, this boom boom rig swim bait, or a mag draft, and get some bigger bites doing that. Another way to get a bigger bite right now, throw them in the same places, either right outside the bushes, or if you have the confidence to pitch it in a hole between some bushes or some trees, is throwing a glide bait. This is a GFB. We just got these in stock. It's a really good glide bait. It's a custom handmade glide bait. Good way to get some big bites. If you have another brand of glide bait that you like, get some confidence in it. Go out there and throw it right now, because the bites you're going to get could be better quality, and you'll be surprised. Another thing I've been doing around the bushes is I've been throwing a Pop Max. I've had a little bit more success on the Pop Max or a popper style topwater than I have a spook. I have been throwing the spook a little bit as well, but I've been getting more bites more on the popping style. I don't know if it's because they're hearing that little pop, and then they're just shooting up from the bush and getting it, but it's a good way to get a topwater bite right now. But a spook is also working, so just pick up whatever your favorite topwater popper or spook is and throw it around those bushes, and you'll get some bites. If you kind of want to just find out where some fish are that will react to a topwater, you can pick up the Tackle HD. This is the worldwide buzzer. You can cover a lot of water with it. So you'll just find a good stretch with some bushes or some trees that are in the water. Get up there and just burn the bank. You can find out where some of those fish are, especially the active ones, and you can get some good bites on a buzz bait. Buzz bait is a really good big bite bait. So get out there, cover some water with the buzz bait, and you can see, and then you can slow down, throw the popper, or you can slow down and throw that Senko or floating worm, or even the soft swim bait. the buzzbait's just a good way to show you where some more active fish are, and then you can slow down and pick it apart with these other baits that are in front of us here. If you don't want to get into the bush game or the flipping game at all, there are some fish out on points, not as, grouped up as we normally see around this time, but there are some out there. So you can take, this is just a Tackle HD shaky head. You set the boat out between 20 to 30 foot and cast up towards the bank, and just, you really got to slow down. I like throwing this egg zone. It's a floating worm, so that tail is always sticking up, and you can get some bites that way, but you really, really have to slow down when you're throwing the shaky head. Another good way right now is to throw a Carolina rig, whether it be on this floating worm. It's a really good bait to throw behind a Carolina rig. You can throw a Senko behind it, a Zoom centipede behind it. You can throw a brush hog, a baby brush hog, or whatever your soft plastic of choice is. But that's another really good way to get some bites right now. The fishing is really tough, guys, but if you just stick with it, grind it out, you can have a really good day on the water. And sometimes you just got to put it all together. Sometimes you got to go up shallow and then maybe get out on the points. And then by the end of the day, you should have 10 to 15 pounds and have a really good day on the water. So thanks for tuning in this week, guys, and we'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
All right, we are joined by Aaron Click. Aaron, so happy to have you on the show and get to do this for you. It's been an interesting week. A few days ago, I was informed that you, one of the people who started this fantastic company, have decided to step away from the day-to-day operations and kind of go and do some other things. But we wanted to kind of in parting just catch up and find out a little bit more about what this journey has been like for you, what it's meant to you, and kind of where you think the brand is headed as you move on to focus on other things in your life. So thanks for being here, buddy.
Hey, Joe, my pleasure. I have a lot of passion for Tackle HD. It's a brand that me and some buddies started in my garage years and years ago. And, I'll always have a really heartfelt soft spot for Tackle HD. It means a lot to me. And, it's just been a brand that it's been a journey for me. Tackle HD started as one bait and one jig head, and it turned into just giant monster that we have now in front of us, so it's pretty cool. There's a lot to it that a lot of people don't realize, but we'll get to that, I'm sure. So
yeah, man. So you've got a little free time on your hands now, and you're able to do this podcast, and that's awesome.
Yeah. I have nothing else to do, Joe. So you can ask any question you want. And anybody who knows, Aaron Click knows, man, I have a real hard time. If I'm thinking it, it's going to come right out of my mouth. I have a hard time holding back on my thoughts, and at times in my life, I thought, man, I gotta watch what I say. But if I'm thinking it, I say it. So it hasn't been a problem too much for me, so we'll see what happens. But, honestly, the biggest part for me was stepping away was I have a special needs daughter. She just graduated high school, so I needed to dedicate quite a bit of my time to her for the next, few months at least. And to me, there's nothing more important than that. Family first, always, no matter what I've done. And so that's where I'm at right now. I'm basically spending a lot of time at home and goofing off with my daughter. And my wife continues to work. God bless her, because she has a good job. And, I try to keep supper ready when she gets home,
So let's just kind of jump back in time, 5-6 years. You started Tackle HD with some buddies in what year?
In 2016, I kind of wandered onto a fishing forum, and I met some guys that became my friends, and one of them had already kind of created our launch bait, which was the high def craw, and it was his idea really to, hey, we should start a tackle company. And I thought, this is silly. I'm in construction at the time. I own a construction company in St. Louis area, and I thought, man, I'm game for anything. I'll do anything. I'm crazy like that. So I had the space available. I had some warehouse space, and I had time. So we started it in my garage, and long story short, it kind of blew up fast. We made some new baits, and everything got popular on Facebook and Instagram, social media, based company, and it just kind of exploded. And that kind of led us into where we're at now. Really, it's social media.
Interesting. So what were you doing in the garage? Were you actually like pouring into molds and that kind of thing? Or
So yeah, so we were actually shooting our baits. I like to say one at a time, but it's kind of like four at a time. We figured out ways to take single molds. We had like multiple single shot molds, and we had like a big vise set up that we could do like 4 and 6 at a time, and we thought we were really killing it. Now we're doing like, well, I mean, Tackle HD is doing like 30 at a time and 50 at a time, and every minute there's like 30 crawls coming out of a mold with our very expensive and fancy equipment that Tackle HD has now. So it's pretty cool though to see a garage operation turn into this giant monster of actual mass production factory with a lot of employees and shipping departments and packaging departments. It's just crazy. Sales department, I mean, Tackle HD has a designated IT guy just to, keep up with computer stuff, and it's crazy.
yeah, e-commerce.
It takes a enormous amount of people to do an actual full-blown tackle business. A factory that turns into like going into chain accounts like Walmart, Bass Pro, Dick's Sporting Goods. You're not gonna do it in your garage. There's no way. It's just never gonna happen. But in the beginning stage, my goal was everything. There was nothing to me in my mind. Nothing was out of reach. But then I kind of realized going in, a couple years in, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is way over my head, and it takes a giant team of people,
Right.
smart people.
I mean, otherwise you would be stuck in that garage shooting the liquid into molds all day and night, and unless you wanted to start hiring people to keep up with that. And that's eventually what happened, as the company grew. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, even in the garage operation, we had like high school kids coming after school. We had we had 1 or 2 full-timers that would just be there all day. And then of course, as soon as I was done with my normal day-to-day job, I was there, and then I would get up 4 o'clock in the morning and, get product ready for shipping. And I did all the shipping for, gosh, probably the first year, got it ready, labeled it, and did the shipping on it. It was crazy. But
what was,
at the
looking
time,
back,
I was dreaming big, dreaming big. This is just, step one to get to the next level,
looking back, what stands out as that first big win for the company?
There's a couple of big wins. Somehow I ended up with the opportunity to get in front of the Bass Pro buyer, and getting to sit in front of Bass Pro. And mind you, I own this pretty big of a monster construction company. So when I went to Bass Pro, I just thought it was just like winning another construction job, bid. So I really I mean, I cared, but at the same time, I'm like, I really don't give a crap. You want this? This is the best bait in the whole freaking world. If you don't see it like I see it, you're nuts. Well, the buyer of Bass Pro was he was a hard case, but I liked the guy, and I could appreciate his viewpoint. He's seen, gosh, the guy like that at Bass Pro, the buyer, he's probably seeing, I'm guessing 500 guys like me a year come through.
Right.
But I was more of I still had to go home and go to work. So I really,
Well, and so
it
many
was
of
kind
the
of like, yeah,
so many of the people that he's seeing, they may have a great bait, but when you're in those early stages with your company, if they said yes, can you even fulfill it? Can you even keep up if they start pushing this thing and it starts selling? Are you even equipped to fulfill it? So I'm sure he's seen that plenty of times too. Like, yeah, you got a great thing here. How are you going to get me 10,000 of these by next week?
I me and my partners at the time kind of had a plan in place for that. We were working on building a mass production mold. With the crawl, we had to go to the best mold builder in the world, and because it was very complex and it had a lot of moving parts, and it was a lot of money. It was tremendous amount of money, and so we were planning for future. We knew we were going to go big. Somehow in our heads, I don't know. I knew we were going to make it all the way. I'm like, this is going to go to the next level, no doubt in my mind. And I'll pour everything I got at it, and I did. And so yeah, we got a mass production mold built, and we sourced it to a company that shoots plastic for other big companies. And that's how we were able to fulfill Bass Pro. So once we got Bass Pro, the next big step was Tackle Warehouse. Tackle Warehouse, the number one online sales, company in the world. And once we got Tackle Warehouse and some Bass Pro store, and we didn't get into every Bass Pro, we just got some Bass Pros. But that gave us like a legitimate stake in the industry. And people really noticed Tackle HD from that point on. I don't think you could have stopped it from then, Joe.
Interesting. One of the first times that you and I talked when this video show project was in its early planning stages, and we were just kind of getting to know each other, and you were educating me on the brand over the phone. You said something really interesting that has stuck with me, and that's, I don't look at it as selling fishing equipment. I look at it as I'm selling fun. And that's always stuck with me. I thought, what a great way to look about it, to look at this whole thing, because if you're not having fun, why fish? Fishing is, it's a sport, it's a challenge, it's time in the outdoors. It's all supposed to be fun. So the business side of it should be too. And it's cool that you carried that through.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when Tackle HD started, all we did was consumer shows where you have an actual, a mom, a dad, and a couple of little kids walk by, and you could see the excitement and the passion in their face. It's written all over their whole body. They love, the whole idea of fishing and opportunity out there, and maybe it could happen to me kind of thing. You catch the big one. And so, yeah, I loved that part of it. Now, when it progressed into meeting with big shot corporate buyers and stuff like that, they don't really, it's not fun for them, Joe. The Bass Pro buyer, it's not fun. He's not having fun. He's worried about margins and shipping and all these programs and all this bullcrap that's just not fun. You know what I mean? But
different animal.
Totally different deal. But I get it. Yeah. So,
over these last couple of years, as you've watched this grow, what were like some of the biggest challenges that you ran into that probably any company in the fishing tackle industry of that size, trying to get to that next level faces? What were some of the things that really were hard to get through?
I would say sourcing, getting product, getting components for product that we, our baits. It's always about getting what you need at the right time, at the right
Yeah,
time of the year. Some baits are very specific to spring, summer, fall.
sure.
So you don't want to sit and, buy a whole bunch of stuff for fall in the winter because, now you got all this money invested in, something you might be selling a lot of in the fall. So it's always been about sourcing and relying on other people to, make sure that you have your product so you can sell it. If you
Yeah.
cannot ship, if you make a big deal with anybody and you can't ship, there goes your chance at that big deal. You
Yeah.
could lose it. So, labor sometimes could be an issue. Quality, we never really had issues with that. We controlled the quality. We always had good sources, good factories working with us. We didn't really ever have any issues other than getting our stuff in time, getting our crap in time to ship it.
Right.
Everybody else in the industry, same problem.
Right. And COVID really made that challenging.
Yes. Yep.
Interesting.
So,
What are, some of your proudest moments when you look at the path of Tackle HD?
I would say one of the proudest moments for me is when I personally got in front of the Walmart buyer and was able to sell product to the Walmart buyer. That was like the pinnacle for me. That was like, I had seen a Walmart buyer over the years since 2019. They've been in my ICAST booth, and unknowingly, I didn't know it was the Walmart buyer, but so yeah, for me, I would say the bomb, like Tackle HD made it, I made it, I did a good job, was when I got in front of Walmart buyer, the most important, the biggest retailer in the world, and I felt like I sold them Tackle HD. And for me, that was when I went home and I'm like, I did good. I felt like I succeeded,
And we've got the great picture of you standing in front of the display the day those went up. They're in 120 locations right now, from mid-Missouri, southern Missouri, down through Arkansas, and we'll see, maybe some more down the road. So they ended up picking up 3 of the products, which it's these displays you see right here behind me, 4 packs of the high def craw, which is kind of the bait this company was built on, and then also the Helgramite and the Nedmite, the 5-inch and the 3.5-inch. So some cool products out there, thanks to you, man, and the team back at the HQ.
Yeah, it takes a team.
Yeah,
it takes a team. But there's no bigger rush for me than being in front of those buyers. It's like you get ready, you put all this crap together, it's spreadsheets, and just you talk about it, you have meetings, and then the actual moment when here's Bass Pro, here's fill in the blank, Dick's, here's Walmart. Right. We're talking, people don't get it. These buyers they have a lot going on. This is your 30 minutes, the timer's running. You got to freaking kill it, and I love that. It's a rush for me.
So how much of one of those presentations is you convincing them that this thing right here will catch fish really good? I bet that's a small part of it.
For me, that's, the corporate, okay. So corporate's always behind me, believe it or not, we will rehearse for a big event like a Walmart.
You
or
have to.
Yeah, we'll have like a rehearsal. We'll do it. We'll go through that several times. I know every company does it, but when it comes down to it, and we're live, and I'm in front of the buyer, I literally personally, I look at the notes, and in my mind, I crumble them up in a ball and I chuck them in the trash. And I look at that buyer and I read into it, and I just throw my heart, my passion at it, like I believe in this bait, and it's freaking awesome, and it's a great deal for your customers, and we shoot them in our facility, but most of it I just go crazy and just throw my mind at them, and
Let the
treat them
passion
like
tell them.
yeah, I treat that buyer like they're a 9-year-old at a show in just some random city that I do. I just sell it to them like they're a little kid, and try to get them believing in the product like I do, and it's really worked. Some of them actually buy in and believe it, and I know some of them throw our baits and they love our baits and they fall in love with the brand, just like a lot of our customers do.
So being somebody behind a big tackle company like this, who you're not just on the business side of it, you fish constantly all year round, several days a week. You were out on your boat fishing. How hard is it for you to throw things that are not made by your company? And do you? Let's say on those days where the bite is very, very hard, you got to dig into that other box that's buried down below and try something else. Or what goes through your head?
With Tackle HD, I don't fish a lot of tournaments. I'm not a good fisherman. I just fish a lot. So I'm going to stumble on big fish because I fish 5-6 days a week. Okay, Joe? So when I fish tournaments, because I'll get invited to fish a lot of tournaments because somehow people think, oh my gosh, she's always posting big fish pics. I want to be my partner. I'm not a good fisherman. If you fish as much as me, you're going to catch big fish. It's just, there's no way around it unless you're just casting up in the tree or whatever, But no, there's been times in tournaments where I'm like, I know if I threw this competitor's product, I would have a good shot at this. But I wouldn't do it. I'm a stubborn.
You wouldn't do it?
No, I wouldn't do it. I guarantee you right now, I have 12 tackle boxes in my boat. I fished today. I have 12 tackle boxes in my boat, and it is 11 tackle boxes of Tackle HD products. That's a fact. So yeah. Now, since I resigned from Tackle HD, it'll be a week tomorrow. I've actually, because I'm a crankbait freak. I've always been, a crankbait guy. Today I went out fishing and I broke out like 3 boxes of my old crankbaits, and but honestly, I caught all my fish today on a bubblegum trick worm. I caught some big ones.
No kidding.
Some giants today. Yeah. On a Tackle HD trick finesse worm, 4.5 inch.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. So right here, it is the green pumpkin 4.5 inch Tackle HD finesse worm. This wasn't something that you guys sent me as a demo. I actually bought it at Dunn's for $3.49. The tag is still on it. And thanks to these things right here, I caught my personal best largemouth bass last week. I sent you the pictures. I said, Aaron, you're not going to believe it. I just pulled out of this little golf course pond. And my scale I didn't have a Tackle HD scale. The digital scale I had did not work. So we didn't get an official weight on it. But your guess was what? 5-ish?
I think I said 6-ish.
6-ish?
Close to
6-ish. Yeah.
So no, I said 5, but if it had its eggs in it, it was a 6-ish.
Yeah. But yeah, that was. So yeah, that is, I mean, I'll never forget. I never caught a 5-pound bass in my life. Now for you guys watching, you're like, this guy's never caught a 5-pound bass. I don't have a boat. I'm a bank fisherman, and the the water access that is convenient to me is not big fish places. It's parks. It's bank fishing on the Meramec River close to where I live in St. Louis. I've got some golf course ponds that I have access to that I fish all the time. So yeah, I mean, I'm not out at Lake of the Ozarks 3 times a week like some of these guys that you're seeing online, but the Tackle HD products have been everything I've been throwing for the last 5 months since we all started working together, and me and my friends that I fish with have just been blown away by it. So thank you, Finesse Worm.
Well, you know what, Joe? I'm glad you said that. Do you realize Tackle HD started on the banks of the Meramec River in a little one-car garage, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Tackle HD, when it started, was, I would say our main market was kayak, bank fishermen. We really didn't have tournament fishermen in mind. We were thinking about the average Andy fisherman and the guy that could sit off the bank. And these are great baits and high pressure. Tackle HD, our first 3 baits were, very good for high pressure fish that seen a lot of product and weren't going to just bite at anything. Very realistic baits that, are good for. I always tell people, when I first started with Tackle HD, I said, fish are baits like live bait. They look that realistic. Fish it slow, fish it like it's live bait. And so, yeah, it's funny you said that. The bank fishermen, the kayak fishermen, creek and river fishermen are, to me, still our most, Tackle HD's most important, market. That's the lion's share of the people that fish. People that go to Walmart and buy product, they're going to go fish in a pond or a lake or a creek or a river, off the bank, maybe in a kayak. And those people they're the most important people out there, for the brand.
Well, and it's funny when I kind of notice with marketing, I'm a marketing guy. That's my background. That some of the fishing companies that I follow, and I follow a lot of them, seem to be targeting professional tournament fishermen, and like people that are on the tour. Like everything is very high level stuff that's over my head, and I'm thinking to myself, most of those guys are getting all of their gear for free. There's
They're
no
not
sense.
paying for their crap.
They're not paying for anything. Yeah,
No.
they're not buying
No.
anything. They're getting boxes of stuff on their porch
Yeah.
every week from
Any
companies.
pro that reaches out to me ever and wants some, I'm going to ship that crap for free. It's a freaking pro.
Yeah.
I want them to fish my stuff, and with maybe the chance that the camera will zoom in, but it never happens. Pros are great. They're I mean, that is what we all want to be. We all fishermen fishing in a pond. We want to be pros, but in reality, listen, just it takes a lot.
Oh yeah.
You got to be rich before you start to be a pro, in my opinion. So I got to be happy with the fact that I can go on the river and just freaking enjoy myself. Today I caught 2 giant smallmouth and let them go. I got some good content on it, and I'm like, you know what? That's good enough for me. I don't need to win a tournament because I never do anyway. I suck at it. When I'm in a tournament, I would have never caught those 2 fish today. I would have just never would have took the time to, catch those 2 fish I caught today. 2 big ones, but anyway, I got off on a tangent.
So let's talk a little bit about your own personal fishing. So you mostly fish the Meramec River around St. Clair, right? Is that
right?
accurate?
Yep, that's okay. My little home area there, 63077. So yeah.
What is your personal favorite month to be out there fishing, as far as what's best?
My favorite month is, since I'm in the fishing industry, we call it Q1. So that's the first quarter. My
Okay.
favorite month is January, February, March, April. You know,
Okay.
they're on their beds and spawning now, and I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, yeah, I caught two big ones today off their beds, but honestly, I like it when they're winter. So January, it's winter. February, it's winter. I really like capitalizing on those large schools of river fish that I mean, it's a fact. 90% of the fish are in 10% of the water in the winter on the rivers in the Midwest. So I don't have to waste any time. I go to a big hole where I know it's a winter hole, and I know I know all the fish for 3 or 4 mile, 5 miles are in this area. And then it's just a matter of catching them. And, usually you can, unless it's just, bad conditions of the water. But, right now, pre-spawn is probably absolutely the best time to catch a giant. We had the Gasconade River not far from here. I had a buddy, I think Monday, Jeff Schultz. He sent me a picture of a giant pre-spawn smallmouth he caught on the Gasconade. And he said, "How big do you think this is?" And it was 23-inch, had to be 7 pounds. He didn't have a scale with him, so he couldn't get a weight, but it had to be a 7 pound pre-spawn female. So, but the Meramec, yeah, I don't think you're going to catch a pre-spawn female this week. I think they've spawned. I seen males guarding fry today when I was out. So that tells me, they've kind of spawned for the most part. There's still some females. I'm just struggling to find big females, but, you know, catching 4 pound males that are aggressive and 20 inches long, that's pretty fun. I'll do that.
So you said today, what was working for you was the bubblegum worm.
Yes.
Yeah.
The bubblegum
What else?
finesse worm.
What else you throwing this time of year and having luck with?
I'll probably put on my Instagram page, my personal page. I caught a 19 and a half incher today on high def craw, green pumpkin blue today. But that was after it swung and missed twice at the bubblegum worm. And I'm usually not going to throw the same thing 3, 4, 5 times. I'm going to, so I had a craw, high def craw on the stealth finesse jig head that I trimmed down, and I tossed it up there. And the water's dirty. I couldn't physically see the bed, but this fish swirled twice in the same spot. And the third time it got a hold of the bubblegum worm. So I literally gave it about 3 or 4 minutes, to cool off. And then I right where that swirl was, I threw the high def craw in there. It was pretty good footage. I hooked up on it and didn't have a net with me, and it got tangled up on everything I own, and it was a mess, but I got it in the boat, and I got it right back in the water as fast as I could so I can get back to its bed. So,
awesome. Out there on the Meramec, what's the heaviest smallmouth you've ever weighed personally?
And I had a real crappy scale, but back in 90s, I had a 5.8, which was a 5.5 pounder. So, I've caught a lot of 5+, but, like I was talking about Jeff Schultz earlier, that sucker, he caught a 6.4 in a tournament last year, and he just caught that one this week. So he's the only guy I know that has legitimately caught 2 6-pound plus smallmouth on the Meramec. I personally have probably caught maybe 10 over 5 or bigger. But 5, any smallmouth over 4 pounds on the Meramec or any Ozark River is a trophy smallmouth. But you shouldn't keep them. You should let them go. You shouldn't get them mounted. Get good pics, good measurements. Let them go. Those are old fish. And it's a shame to kill them. So treat them, good, and let them go fast.
Which do you prefer? I think I know the answer, but fishing for smallmouth
or fishing for largemouth?
I prefer fishing for walleye.
Really?
Yeah, I would. My walleye is like that's my drug. I love walleye fishing. River walleye are some of the funnest fish to chase for me. So it would go walleye. Smallmouths are kind of easy. I figured it out a long time ago, and I kind of went away from it, and then I came back to it because I'm in the fishing industry, and it's a big part of marketing product is to catch smallmouth. So, but no, I really love walleye fishing. River walleye, they're pretty cool fish, and we have a lot of them. And every time I'm out smallmouth fishing, and I do a lot of guiding, and I take a lot of people out fishing, and we shoot a lot of content. Usually, when I'm out, I'm thinking, I bet there's walleye right there, and I want to fish for them. But walleye require different baits. We do catch a lot of walleye, coincidentally, on Tackle HD products. Our swimmer, the HD swimmer, is a great walleye bait. Our crankhead's are great. We got a couple colors that work great for walleye too. So,
Do you think you're going to miss working in the fishing industry?
I think a break from it will be great, but I do know I want to stay in the fishing industry, Joe.
Gotcha.
It's my passion. I love hunting. Hunting's fun for me. It's my family, we eat a lot of wild game, so I have to hunt just to provide that amount of meat that we need. It's almost like a quota. I gotta kill 5 deer. I gotta kill 2 to 4 turkeys. That's how many I'm allowed. But but I don't really want to make a living in the hunting industry. I just go out there and hunt as fast as I can, get my quota, for the family, for the freezer. I want to stay in the fishing industry. I love it. My passion is in it, but I do need a little break here, and I don't know what I'm going to do next. I will tell you this: since I resigned from Tackle HD a week ago, I've had a lot of pretty cool opportunities come my way, and I got a lot of stuff. Just literally right before we did this video, I had a pretty surprising offer come at me through a text message. And I'm like, man, I just want to, step back, figure out what I want to do. But I will tell you this, Joe, whatever I do, it's going to be fun. I want to have fun. Is that selfish?
Nope.
Okay.
You have
whatever
to.
I do, it's going to be, I want to have fun. I'm like a little kid. I'm still in my 40s, but I'm like a little kid. I have a mentality. I just want to have fun. If it ain't fun, I don't want no part of it. I don't mind working my butt off, but even when I'm working, I want to make it fun. I mean, I don't want to sound selfish, but geez, I just want to have fun and somehow get paid for it.
Yeah.
Is that wrong?
That's the dream, man.
Wrong?
That's the dream.
It's American dream. I want to live the American dream.
Right.
And that's what I want to do. I want to somehow have fun and get paid for it. And, so whatever I do next, it's going to be freaking fun. And I want it to be big. I want it to be something huge, not just like, and there's nothing wrong with starting in your garage. That is, it's humbling, to go from your garage to Walmart. That is very, very humbling and very rewarding at the end of the day, and but I would do that again, but geez, you kind of at my age, you kind of start running out of energy. I'm worried. I still have energy. I'm worried about, am I going to run out of energy? So I don't want to start over, but I do want to stay in the fishing industry. I love Tackle HD, and I just don't know what I'm going to do yet. I really don't. I don't have a plan. Is that crazy?
Nope. It's all good.
Okay.
There's a little bit of freedom that goes along with it. I'm sure there's a little bit of fear, but there's also a little bit of freedom. Like, it kind of feels cool not to be locked into something that the sky is the limit, literally, right now.
That's it. You just said the sky is the limit. The sky's the limit. The biggest factor for me for resigning was I have a special needs daughter who just graduated from high school, and she don't really have her programs lined out for what's she going to do next. So I'm going to spend a lot of time with my daughter, who's 20 years old and special needs. She needs constant supervision, and man, I'm just, for me, that's what I want to do. I want to be, it's the reward for that for me is just, it's not a money thing for me. And by the way, I am unemployed and not getting paid, Joe. I have no income, so
I'll send you
I'll
send you some baits, some complimentary baits.
I need some bubble gum finesse worms. I need a couple packs.
Yeah. Well, this has been great to just kind of get into your head and learn a little bit more about the history of the company and kind of find out where you're at this very moment. I know a lot of people are curious, and I know a lot of people would love to continue following your journey. So you are on Facebook and Instagram. You want to tell anybody out there where they can follow along?
Probably what I'm going to work on, honestly, for the next 30 days is my own Instagram. And, I got to fish with some pretty big shots in the last few weeks. And that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on my own actual Instagram and Facebook platforms. And, I kind of, I think it's important if you plan on moving on in the future, you need to work on your own social media. Your own brand is so important, out here, Joe.
Yeah, I'm going to throw your Instagram handle on the screen there so everybody can see it, and you can follow Aaron. The Tackle HD one, of course, is right there. And I think in closing, anybody out there that has ever caught a fish on a high def craw owes Aaron at least a Instagram follow and a high five if they ever see you out there, man.
I appreciate it, Joe. And Joe, as well, actually, me and you are going to get out in the next week or so, and get on the river and catch some big smallmouth.
I can't wait.
So,
yeah,
I'll make that happen. I have nothing but time.
All right, well, let's set that up as soon as we're off here.
All right, sounds good.
All right, buddy. All right,
Thanks,
Aaron
man.
Quick, ladies and gentlemen.